So this was all coppiced last year, probably about this time of year. It's like 13th or the 14th of April, March. I'll come up here quite a bit. I'll be surprised how quickly this all grows. Like I say, it was all trees a year and a half ago. About this time last year they come up here and basically did that to it. You can see I've done the same over there. Took all the trees down. When I come out, I actually meant to bring me my burning stove with me, but forgot it. So now I'm in kind of a bizarre situation. Spanish canteen and some chocolate sachets in there, litre of water, and my normal bag that I carry around with me every day. Some of you might have seen another video. And I've got some gear in here. So I've collected up a tiny piece of birch bark. There's a lot of dry leaves laying around. Shouldn't really have too much trouble getting the fire going. There's some starter wood there, and that pile and those few sticks there should be more than enough to get me a cup of water boiled up. So I also didn't bring a tripod with me, but who cares? You'll have to put up with being a bit wobbly. So inside here we have this, which is basically what I normally use when I don't. That bag attaches to my waist, to my belt, and sometimes I carry it over my shoulder, so I carry a strap around in there. Of course, some cordage. Let me get this open. Right, in here I've got LED balloon. We've got a tiny ferrocerium rod. Actually bought that from Sweden. We went to the Ice Hotel, stayed in the Ice Hotel for a few days. There's some other stuff in here, but ship matches, tampon, serving two purposes. Primarily for lighting fires, but you can pick up quite a lot of water with one of them if you really want to, and if you do it right you can get water out of a puddle or in the root of a tree like that. And obviously quite useful for what they're meant for. There's some spare batteries there. If any of you guys have watched this actually know of a decent headlamp that takes AA batteries, I'd love to know, because I've been looking for them a lot and I can't seem to find one. Right, so we've got some wax card. What else have we got? Oh, look. We've got Mini Inferno. We'll try it just with a spark. We'll try it without the wax card and all the other cheating stuff. Oh yeah, these come from Sainsbury's. These are pretty handy. They give out quite a lot of light. And unlike a glow stick, they don't take up much room. So let's see what we can get going with this little tiny ferrocerium rod. And this UK legal carry knife. I'll see if I can find somewhere to put so you can see what I'm up to. Right then, we've got a backlock, some of this. I've got two piles of wood over here, tiny. Don't need a massive fire, huge fire to boil a litre of water. You can do it with a really quite a small fire. So we'll give this a bit of a mash up. Keep our pinkies crossed. Now there's a trick with this. Obviously this is a folding knife, because I'm in England and I don't come out into public woodlands, although I'll probably get locked up just for lighting a fire up here. It's a folding knife, so obviously I can't do it the traditional way with a ferrocerium rod. So one closes the knife, gets a good firm grasp. I'll take my house keys off of there, and then I use the back of the serrated blade like that. Now because it's so small, it's very difficult for me to do it this way. But I will persevere. Both the blade, the knife and the rod are tiny compared to what I'm used to using. So we'll see if we can do any better this way. Or nearly went that time. We'll see if we can get some down there in that metal, in the wood. No. I mean, of course, I've got a Zippo in my pocket because I smoke, because I'm such a rebel. Oh, that one actually landed on my finger. Look, I now have a burn hole in my finger. I don't know if the camera will focus on me there. I don't think it will. Now, this is the downsides of pretty much using the wrong tool for the job. I guess this birch bark is very damp. It does feel quite damp. But then it has been raining in England, as most of you will know. It's been raining in England for, God, well, it felt like an ice age. Maybe rip some of these up a bit smaller. I mean, as you guys know, or anyone who's watching this should know, once the birch bark goes, we should be fine. Right, we're off. So, tiny logs first. Slightly bigger ones atop. So yeah, this and this don't make for a good combination when it comes to lighting a fire. Get a bit uptight about keeping my gear clean. I don't mean it needs to be spotlessly clean, but this little knife here gets used for a lot. So I generally clean it up immediately after use. And of course put my house key straight back on it as well. Wouldn't want to lose them. I'm going to have to shuffle you guys that way for a second, but there's the fire. No, it didn't take too long. A tiny little bit of birch bark, and the fires are going. I just shifted over here and sat over here for a second, and as you can see, that was a very quick sit down and very quick get up again. We've still got this tiny little fire going, and you're on a bit of an angle, but I hope you don't get motion sickness. Put some more wood on here because it's getting a bit low already. I also positioned this so that the smoke wouldn't blow in my face, and as usual the wind has changed and the smoke is now blowing in my face. Right. I don't drink coffee. I would say it's coffee time, but it's not because I don't drink coffee. So, I can have wicked white chocolate, which I keep in there for my daughter when she comes up the woods with me. I personally hate white chocolate. I've got Standard Belgian chocolate. Standard Belgian chocolate. Oh, damn you, Smoke. Damn you, straight to hell. I'll put my sunglasses on, that might help protect me because they're quite big. Right then, right. Now we're rock and rolling. Seems I'm going to have some leaves with my chocolate. One of these chocolates is an orange flavour and it's really nice. Yeah, that one. Yeah, options. It's not options because I'm a fat bastard and I need to lose weight. It's just the only one that my local supermarket sells. Comes in a small packet. I'll keep my bag over there. Anyway, this is what I keep the Pathfinder School canteen in. And this is a 3-piece cook set. I've been using it for, I don't know, maybe 6 months now. I think I ordered it middle of summer last year. It's actually really good cook set. You can make a cup holds like about a litre or something like that, I'm not sure. 700ml, so with noodles or potato and stuff. I've boiled a stew up for me and the missus in this, you know, with some sliced and diced rabbit and pigeon. So like game stew, sliced and diced rabbit and pigeons, carrots, stuff like that. Little tiny fire like this, it's more than enough. I do need to make myself a clean spoonish or a cleanish spoon. But I do so detest cutting live wood down. I've got to move you guys again in a second, sorry. And pack my bag away properly. Another thing I'm quite fastidious about, like pack it away once I've used it, put it back where it comes from. Everything's got a place, everything in its place. You always know where everything is. Otherwise you spend half your goddamn life searching for stuff. Now I'll have to get you back up there so that you can still see the fire. Can you still see the fire? Indeed. Right, like I say, you can see it's a small fire. It's not big. Doesn't need to be big at all, not by a long shot. Come back here. And we're trying to keep it as small as possible. So I want all the leaves out of the way. I did clear a small spot to start with. I'm going to have to move my chair around the other side. And this just needs to sit on there like that. I mean, I'm practically blind in both eyes now because of the amount of smoke coming up with that fire. There's a lot of dead wood laying around on the floor around here, so it's very difficult to find somewhere where you can sit. I've also collected up quite a substantial amount of bracken, which makes really quite a nice chair. And of course the best thing about using bracken is it'll all go back to nature in the end. I also like to keep everything very close to hand so that if need be I can pack up and leave in minutes. There's still me wood over there. So I'll have to move this over a bit closer. I have to say this is more than enough just to boil that bit of bubble with water. Well, unbeknown to me, the camera had fallen over. So hey. Give this a bit of a swill. bit of leaf or something in there. But the leaf won't kill us then. Some of you might know I'm not really one for blowing fires. Fucking stupid if you ask me. Fire's going to burn, the fire will fucking burn without you blowing on it. If you must insist on blowing things, I can think of much better things to blow than a fire. So it's actually going to bed down properly. So we'll do a bit of a cheat. That's where the big old disposable boots come in rather than the 70 or 80 quid trainers. There you go. Actually smell the bottom of my trainers. There. Now this should be more than enough. Myself a nice cup of drinking chocolate boiled, or you know, warm up a cup of soup or anything like that really. But I'll put you on pause now because this is really quite a boring bit of video, isn't it? I was going to sit here and ramble on about a lot of old crap, but I don't suppose many of you guys are particularly interested in it. There's a few news stories that have been getting my wick lately. David Cameron or someone in the Environment Agency, I'm not sure of all the details, but they recently decided that dredging rivers was a waste of money, waste of time. Now, as I mentioned earlier, in the UK we've had a lot of rain over winter, practically 3 months solid rain, and of course there's been a lot of flooding. Now people are complaining that a lot of the problems they've been having is because because the rivers weren't dredged properly. So, in all their wisdom, the politicians are now going to pay everyone that's been affected by the flooding £5,000. Pray tell, why don't they just keep dredging the rivers in the first place? The rivers have been dredged for many years. I've got relatives that used to live on Norfolk Broads, and most of the dikes and waterways up there were dredged regularly. So why did they stop? What, to save themselves some money? And now it's cost them some more. That's about all I've got to say for the time being, so I'll put you on pause. I think I might have actually left it a bit late to come out really. I mean, I don't know if you can see the sun over there. It's about there, and the horizon is about here, about halfway down the tree line. So I could find myself sitting out here. I'm not dressed particularly well for being outside. I've got a crappy cotton t-shirt on and some thing from Matalan that's actually really quite warm, but it's not particularly strong. It's had the life battered out of it in a very short time. It's only about 6 months old. A pair of Levi's and a pair of trainers. It's not really the sort of the best kit to be wearing, but the water is getting there. This is a bit slow because it's only getting heat from one side, but like I say, I'm not really in a particular hurry. There's also, don't know if you can hear that, railway line. It sounds like it's about 50 metres away, but it's actually about 300 metres away. And then on the other side of the railway line is the A2. I'm really giving away my position a little bit here for anyone that sort of knows this part of the country. It shouldn't be that hard for them to work out. The A2 with the railway line between me and the A2. Canterbury's over that way, which is from here probably to the south. Back up there for a minute. The bag actually doesn't make such a bad tripod, does it? quite a few robins I can hear. I mean, it's still really their time of year. Early March and all that. I was kind of hoping, given that we had 3 or 4 days sun after such a wet season, that there'd be a bit more colour. Clearly there's not that much more colour, which is a bit of a pity, really. But, you know, there is quite a few shoots coming through. A lot of this, I'm guessing that's late daffodils. There's a few daffodils around, not many. The bracken is starting to grow. I mean, there's just moss everywhere. I like moss. When I was a kid, one of my brothers made a little camp in the woods at the back of our house, and that had they put a moss bed in there, and I swear I've been back to those woods in adulthood, some 35 years later, something silly like that, and that moss bed is still sitting there. The moss has just survived for so long. We're going to have to try and get some more flames up the front of this. Try and get some heat up the front of it. But unfortunately I'm going to have to blow on it. There's flames around the side, I suppose it's better than no flames at all. See if we can encourage it round. Go, flames, round you go. Round this way. And look, where there's smoke, there's fire. That. I actually had to explain to my wife about that the other day. She's been hearing people use that expression all her life, where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm sure a lot of you have. But it doesn't mean where there is smoke, there is fire. Or at least not as far as I'm concerned. So you probably just had a massive vibration, and that's my phone, which is sitting in the bag. I think, as far as I'm concerned, it's a bit more metaphorical. You see the fire is smoking. Well, if something's smoking, you can turn it into fire with, you know, the help of something like this, dried out. I mean, look, that with just an ember, that'd really take if it was dried out. Obviously, you can dry it out by keeping it on your person. Something like that, I'd crush up quite a few of these leaves if I was stuck out here, and I'd carry them around somewhere on my person, quite close to my body, to help dry them out. Then the evening time comes when you actually want the fire. You've got some nice dried out material that you can use to get your ember going, and that's what that old saying means to me. Where there's smoke, there's fire. It basically means if you've got something that's smoking, a cigarette, some embers like we've got there, it should be a relatively simple process with the right skills and the right materials to turn it into a fire. Well, look, it's spreading around that way slowly. It's getting there. The missus has had to take her sister to hospital today. So. A hospital appointment at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's just stupid. What are they like? Why on earth would you want a hospital appointment at 7 o'clock in the morning? That's the time people get up for work, isn't it? Normal people, that is, not lazy people like me. Wow. I don't know whether I'm really what you would call lazy. Probably am, compared to most people. But I realised when I was quite young I didn't like working full time. So I made some choices, taught myself some stuff, got some education in, and learned how to make a decent wage without having to work full time. Gives me a lot more time to do the things that I enjoy. Spend time with my family, my missus, my kids, my parents, well, mum. She's getting on a bit now. Going in for a second robot knee. next week, I think. So we're getting some light bubbles. This isn't a race. This isn't a, shelter and boil in 15 minutes or 5 minutes or anything like that. I've just noticed over there, I don't know if I'll be able to hold the camera still enough to zoom in that far. I think someone's built a little shelter over there, or something like that anyway. Excuse the wobbles, this is difficult to hold. Yeah. I'll take a trek over there in a minute and have a look. I think we're nearly done. I need to find myself a piece of fresh wood to make a spoon out of. But like I say, I do not like cutting wood. I'll have a knife out. I'm not really going to make a spoon. Stick. Like the stupid coffee shop people give you plastic wooden sticks for stirring coffee with. Just feel like they're going to snap as soon as you put any kind of stress on them. So I will debark this piece of wood and then give it a good old scrub off, wipe off on my jeans. But I don't debark it with a blade, I debark it like that with the back of a knife. A little tiny piece of wood like this, you'll snap through it so easily and cut through it so easy, sorry. And you want to get all of the grain, you want to get it back to the really nice light wood. And there we go. Now, I'll sandwich it between my hand and my jeans and then pull it through a few times. This is hazel, I believe. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm really not very good with trees and whatnot, so I should be able to hold it in the fire, heat it up a bit, and at least put a bit of a bend in it without it snapping. And as it cools down, it will set in place. And there you go, you've got a little bit of a bend in it there. Only a little bit. We're probably a shade off of boiling now. Drag some of these over. Just get one little last burst of heat out of it. Should be more than enough to get it. That probably shouldn't have been in there. And when I boil a whole litre of water, I just stand the container with a stone on the top rather than the lid, obviously, because the lid will probably catch fire. I stand the whole container and I light the fire around it. That makes it and leaves this sort of a convenient hole right in the middle of the fire. So that you've got a space in there afterwards. It's nice out here. I mean, I'm a programmer, so I spend a lot of time indoors in front of a computer, and it gets, I wouldn't say boring, but tedious, I suppose. I suppose the same as you guys that work in a cubicle or office or workshop or anything like that. Excuse me, keys back in here so we need to wobble on for a bit. If you work in an office or some such, it's quite tedious going to the same place every day. Yeah, I play probably an unhealthy amount of computer games, Skyrim, most of the Fallout games. I've got an old Commodore Amiga, play some of the old school games on that, Wasteland and Cannon Fodder. So what I end up doing is sitting in front of a computer for 6 or 7 hours, sometimes 12, coding. Then I end up sitting in front of a computer for another 5 or 6 hours playing computer games of an evening for my, rest time. And I basically find myself in a situation where I spend 90% of my life sitting in front of a computer. So coming out here is just, it's such a nice break. Water's not boiled yet, but I'm pretty certain, yes, it's not far off of it. So we'll add carefully chocolate to it. Now I've got to get the knife back down. These packets are made for people with fingernails, and I don't have fingernails. Like I say, I put the knives away because it's much easier to lose a 10-inch square black bag. Much easier to lose a set of keys in the woods than it is to lose a 10-inch square black bag. I've actually popped some of these, put a hole in them so that I could crush them down. And this is supposedly outrageous orange flavour. These packets don't burn either, they leave a piece of silver foil behind, so it gets folded up and plopped in my back pocket until I get home. Something I'm constantly having to hit my children to remind them not to drop litter. Oh, just lost all my hair off of my hands. I always think drinking chocolate tastes nice. Obviously it tastes nicer if you make it milk, but it tastes nicer if you can actually boil it for a bit. If I make the kids drinking chocolate before they go to bed, I tend to put a pan full of milk and actually boil the pan with the chocolate in it. Like I say, it's just lovely and peaceful out here, obviously aside from the constant traffic noise, planes flying over. At this time of day, it's entirely sure what time it is. Let's have a look. Good old Mr. Galaxy will tell me. There you go, 17:15. There's a train every 12 minutes or something stupid like that for the next 3 hours. It's still pretty peaceful. Me and the missus were going to go camping this weekend, but there seems to be a single campsite local that's open, and we're not going to go too far because it's so expensive. We have a very greedy car. Well, it's not going to boil. It probably will if I leave it there. But I'd rather have the stability in a mild and a slightly not quite boiling water. Obviously, if I was trying to disinfect this water because I've got it from a pool or a puddle or something around here, using my tampon, I would have made a slightly more substantial fire, and one that would be more suited to boiling probably this once to fill the cup to drink, then this again afterwards to carry. Clearly one of the easiest places to carry water is in your guts. If you've got it in your guts, it doesn't really weigh anything, and it's being put to good use. Yeah. If you're stuck in a situation where you're out and about and you're not going to be able to get back and you need water, but you've got the equipment to disinfect the water and make it as clean as you can, then you're better off disinfecting a litre and drinking it than disinfecting another litre to carry, because once you've got that litre of water inside you, your body is surprisingly good at holding water in. You should try it one day. If you drink a lot of tea or coffee over the course of the day, count your E's on a normal day, and if you have 3 or 4, and then another day just drink the same amount of cups of tea, but replace tea with water. Drink from the same vessel, the same size cup, and you'll see what I mean. If, for example, on an average day I have 4 or 5 cups of tea, I have big cups, just under a pint when I have a cup of tea. If I replace that tea with water, I go to the toilet half the amount of times, and it seems to me that your body is just, or at least my one is, I don't know about anybody else's really, can't speak for anybody else's, but my one seems to hold water in, as opposed to tea and squash and fruit juice and Coke and coffee and everything else. So, you're better off if you was in an emergency situation, you found a water source. Obviously you're better off staying by the water source, but if maybe you can't stay at the water source for any reason, you disinfect a litre of water, drink it, maybe even 2. I wouldn't advise drinking 2 litres of water in one go, probably do your guts right in, but a litre of water, disinfect it, drink it, and then disinfect your second litre of water. And of course, people say never drink water from a source unless you can disinfect it. Another piece of advice I would give is, if you really are stuck out in the middle of nowhere and you're not sure when you're going to get rescued, and you've got no way to disinfect water, and you're not sure about the water that you found or you're potentially going to drink, just drink the stuff. If you don't drink, you will die. If you drink water and it makes you ill, you're just ill. Surely if you were stuck out in the wilderness, that's not going to happen in the UK, to be honest with you. There's very few places in the UK where you're going to get stuck out, as long as you follow the traditional rules. Let people know where you're going. always leave a travel plan with someone, so that they know when to expect you home. You've got the right steam on now. If you are stuck out somewhere in the wilderness and you've got no way to disinfect the water, just drink the water you find. You're much better off being found ill than being found dead. And you'll be surprised just how tough your body is and how well it can deal with bad food, bad water, infections. I reckon that's about good enough for me. It's steaming, it's not boiling. Here, have a look, guys. Looks nice. Nice chocolate. The handle's quite warm. But it'll take a while for the actual cup to cool down enough. So move the cup out of the way. Get this out. if we flick our nice piece of steaming mud and flick all of our small bits into here, bits that aren't burnt, just burn off these. And yes, I will probably end up sticking my spoon back into my drinking chocolate once I've finished doing this, like that. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Far too many people these days are obsessed with being clean. I have friends who are really quite anal about the cleanliness of their house. Every surface is cleaned with, what do you call it, Domestos and antibacterial sprays. And the kids and their family are just ill all the time because they're never exposed to bacteria and stuff. I think there's statistics showing that the more clean the house is, and the more, when I say clean, I'm talking about clinically clean. I'm not just talking about clean and tidy, hoovered and non-dusty and stuff like that. I'm talking about clinically clean, lack of bacteria in the house. I'm sure I've read statistics on the internet, so take it for what it is, whereby houses that are more clinically clean, people inside them do tend to suffer from more colds and infections than people in, generally more dirty houses, and it kind of stands to reason. Another old saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I think it's everything. It's like that, The bacteria doesn't kill you. The body gets used to it. I haven't even brought a chocolate bar or anything. Alright, mind you probably shouldn't really have a chocolate bar. Well, according to my son, drinking chocolate with a chocolate brownie or something like that is actually really quite nice. I want to move this one out of the way, away from the fire, so it gets a chance to cool down a bit. I will, of course, be leaving virtually no trace. Hopefully I can leave no trace, but it's not always feasible. I mean, these guys in the middle here don't want to burn. I'll move that out of the way, so you can still see the fire, smoke. There's very little burn left in these pieces of wood now. Right, I'm just about to try this chocolate. I'm sure it's going to be ridiculously hot. Oh my god, yes. Another thing I like to do is, because I come up here a lot, these woods, I've just noticed the drop in temperature where the sun has gone down below the horizon now. It's actually got really quite cold in less than 5 or 10 minutes. What was I saying anyway? Yeah, I come up these woods quite a lot. And I've been past today 3 other places that I know I've set camps. I'll mark the trees and tie a piece of paracord around them, or lean a stick against them, or something like that, generally, as I leave. And also, of course, I've got a pretty good memory when it comes to places, excellent at navigating. I've completely lost the plot on what I was saying. I've left the campsites, well, not really campsites, but I've left the places I've stayed at before. I wouldn't know that someone had been there unless I'd mark them somehow. And like I say, you only need to lean a branch up in a tree somewhere, put a stick up in a tree somewhere, or tie a piece of paracord around a tree. Not particularly, conspicuous. Drinking chocolate is so much nicer than coffee, but not as nice as tea. Tea's a pain in the arse to make in the woods. Because I take tea with milk. I don't like black tea. I certainly don't like any of them gay freaking breakfast teas and stuff like that cost to sell. Don't like Costa very much, actually. What the other one? Can't remember what the other one is. What's the other one called? Starbucks. figured we'll take a walk down and see what that camp is while the fire's burning out and that's cooling off. I've got no worries about not being able to find my way back. I mean, obviously, I'm actually up on top of a hill. I don't know how well you can see, but all around me is downhill. Which is a bit of a bummer, really, because it means I've got to walk down the hill and back up the hill to get back to my house. I don't know whether this is actually something someone's made down here, or something that's just blown off a lorry on the A2 over there. I mean, it looks like something someone's actually made. I don't really want to walk down the hill because I'm lazy like that. Someone had a slightly bigger fire than me up here. Yeah, that's something someone's made. At least tried to. Focus, damn you. There you go. An old tarp. I guess they were making themselves a treehouse. But like I said, there's my housing estate over there. We've got 50,000 people living on it. Oh, look at that. You wouldn't even know there's someone up here, would you, until you fell over them. We're over that way somewhere. There we go. I can see the smoke coming up from the fire now. You probably can't. Cameras are good like that. All the technology we've got these days, and they're still pretty much useless. Yeah. Definitely got a damp bum. That's going to be really easy to hide once it's done. Look, the whole thing is quite literally only as big as my hand. And like I repeatedly say, it doesn't need to be big. You boil yourself up a drink, make yourself some noodles or anything like that. Obviously, you know, if you're going to make a stew, rabbit, game stew, whatever, in a pot like this, you probably want it going for 45 minutes. Again, if you lay the fire around your container, your cooking pot, whatever. I haven't got a lid for this, so it gets full of ash, but if you lay your fire around your container, you can keep stoking the fire, and the ashes, you know, the embers get bigger and bigger because it's not really the flames. I suppose the flames don't matter if you're cooking in a metal container. The flames will actually generate more heat. We all know what it's like trying to cook meat on flames. Burny time. The only thing I haven't got with me is something to clean this up. But anyway, this is what class is probably my scout kit if I was going out scouting somewhere. Very light. The bag attaches to the side, attaches on my belt, so you barely even notice it's there. And I've got a piece of plaited paracord. It's actually paracord and kite cord. With a Ribena, as my daughter used to refer to him when she was younger, on each end. which makes it incredibly flexible. You could use it for locking a gate if you really wanted to, against stupid things, animals. Well, this is off the eBay. It's cost like £5, pocket on each side. I mean, obviously you can put some stuff in there. The now cool stove, which is going to need a right scrub out when I get home. Fits in there really quite nicely. I mean, Dave Canterbury in the Canteen Shop designed this thing so that it would fit in normal military canteen bits and bobs, and it does the job really quite well. Like I say, this is my scout kit. Inside here somewhere, not entirely sure where, oh yeah, you can just about see it down in the back of there. See that shiny? That's a Mylar reflective poncho. It's not just like a heat blanket, it's actually a poncho. Them little plastic poppers all around the edges, which basically I glue on. It's got little plastic poppers all the way around the edges and also down the front, so it's like a jacket poncho thing. So, you know, if it did start to chuck it down with rain like it does in England randomly, I can stay dry. The trouble is, I've got two of them things, and once you've taken them out of the packet, they're an absolute nightmare to get back in again. So it's kept in there for emergencies only. Obviously, I've got about half a dozen different bloody basher sheets, tarpaulins, whatever you want to call them. It's all good. I mean, my arse is wet now. I'm sitting on the wet ground. I'm still just warm, only just. And there's a tiny little bit of heat coming out of the fire. I can just about feel it on my face. But I reckon it's probably about time that I took the mosey home. Because the missus should be coming back from hospital with her sister shortly. Thanks for taking the time to watch and listen to me rambling on while I'm sitting out here in the woods. It is a nice day, lovely clear sky, virtually no clouds. And that's about the size of it. If there's anything interesting on the way home, I'll grab a quick shot of it, but I very much doubt it. About as interesting as it gets on the way home from here is a nice car driving down the road, or maybe some lads in the field on a motorbike with the police chasing after them, which I've seen a couple of times, which is quite funny, watching a policeman run across the field chasing after a motorbike. Don't quite know how they thought they were going to catch it, I don't know. But anyway, again, thanks for taking the time to watch, and see you again next time, guys. Bye. And this is what it should look like when you leave. The camera has been sitting about here the whole time we've been here. This is where I first sat. I kept getting the smoke in my face. And this is where the camera's been sitting the whole time, and this is where I've been sitting, as you can see. I virtually wouldn't even know someone had been here. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for me.